Hi, cohorts. I am looking at the Establishment Clause analysis with the Lemon Test and putting it to the test. And so I was looking at the two application exercises that we were given. The first one related to Fedora High School's graduation ceremony and the fact that it's a voluntary ceremony and that they had asked a rabbi to come in and do the invocation and the benediction. And they have provided him with certain criteria or guidelines in leading the attendees in a non-sectarian prayer. And so when I take it through the three different aspects of the Lemon test, the first one, is it a secular purpose? I don't believe that you can separate prayer and secularism. I don't think that works together. Or they are very separate things, so I don't think that you can have such a thing as a secular prayer. And a lot of the research that I did on the word non-sectarian or sectarian implied that it's almost impossible to separate the two. So my beliefs would be that you can't really separate the two. So just with step one, we're already in violation of the Establishment Clause. But even looking at the other two, so I don't believe that this particular instance is advancing religion. However, I do think the fact that it mentions that graduation is voluntary makes it appear as though, hey, if you don't agree with this, then you don't have to come, kind of a thing. And then in that way, it is advancing religion and inhibiting others. So again, in that way, I would say it is violating the Establishment Clause. The last point, does the law foster excessive governmental entanglement? I don't necessarily think it fosters governmental entanglement, so I think it may pass on that. But I think if it hits any of the aspects of the Lemon Test, then it's obviously in violation. So overall, I would say that this first exercise is in violation of the Establishment Clause, mostly because of the ability to have a secular purpose, but also the fact that they're saying basically, if you're not okay with this, then you don't have to come, or at least that's the way it sounds in my mind. And a graduation ceremony should be something to be celebrated, not because of the religious connotations, but rather because of the accomplishments of the students. So that would be a concern that I have there. The second exercise with Fedora High School talks about the Ten Commandments being posted in each building, and although I understand what it's saying when it says that below it they have like a little inscription or a statement that says something about it being an adoption of the ideals and not necessarily the religious aspects, I don't think that you can actually say that when you look at the Ten Commandments. Personally, I'm actually in a church right now responding to these. My husband is a pastor, and that's how I feel personally. I'm very much on that religious side, but when I look at it in terms of the law, I know the Ten Commandments. The first one is, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt, the fact that it's mentioning God and not having any other gods, it's therefore putting forth a religious policy. And therefore, if the school, even though they're not the ones actually paying for it, is posting it, they're still promoting it. And so therefore, I would say, does it have a secular purpose? Possibly. Possibly the goal should be maybe to have kids understand what common law is, and some of the Ten Commandments would be that, don't steal, don't kill, don't, you lie, those types of things. But there's other ones in there, honoring your father and mother, that's a great thing. But there's other ones in there that, remember the Sabbath and keep it holy, have no graven images, things along those lines, having no idols, having no other gods before the God, those would be definitely violating that Establishment Clause, because you're saying that as a school, as a public facility, which the school itself is paid for by taxpayer dollars, is promoting this ideal. And so therefore I would say that even though number one of the three-part Lemon Test probably passes as far as what their purpose is, their intent is, 2 and 3 fall very, very, very short. So it's my opinion, based on what I see here and based on my knowledge of the Ten Commandments and prayer, that both exercises would both be in violation of the Establishment Clause. So I'm interested in hearing other opinions, and I think this was a very interesting activity. So definitely fun to look into. Thank you.